Ronnie O'Sullivan faces the prospect of having to qualify for the World Championship for the first time since 1994. The seven-time champion currently sits projected at 17th in the rankings for next year's Crucible. Only the top 16 seeds avoid the qualifying rounds, heading straight to Sheffield for the tournament's last 32. The Rocket last faced World Championship qualifying 31 years ago as an 18-year-old. He defeated Dennis Taylor in the first round before falling to John Parrott in the last 16. The 1994 qualifying featured legends like Alex Higgins and Cliff Thorburn competing for Crucible places. O'Sullivan was just 18 years old at the time, marking what he describes as a different time entirely. Despite currently holding 5th place in the world rankings, O'Sullivan's position faces significant threat. His ranking points from the successful 2023-24 campaign will drop off under snooker's 2-year rolling ranking system. The 49-year-old had a brilliant 2023-24 season, winning 2 ranking titles. However, on the 2-year rolling ranking system, those ranking points will come tumbling off over the coming campaign. Sullivan reached the semi-finals at this year's Crucible. This achievement came after a period away from the game, as he opted out of multiple events. His absence from numerous tournaments in the latter part of last season has left him vulnerable to sliding down the rankings as older results expire. The 2025-26 season begins on June 22 with Wuhan Open qualification at Leicester's Mattioli Arena. This marks the start of a crucial campaign for O'Sullivan's ranking position. The season launch represents critical timing for the former world number 1 who begins the snooker season, with work to do to avoid an unwanted trip to World Championship qualifying next year. The projected rankings for next year's World Championship show O'Sullivan sitting at number 17. This positioning would force him to compete in qualifying rounds, as only the top 16 seeds head straight to the Crucible for the last 32 of the tournaments. The ranking calculation system creates ongoing pressure as points expire automatically after 2 years. O'Sullivan has never had to qualify for the World Championship since his teenage years. The last occasion he competed outside the top 16 came after his 2012 world title victory. He took a year-long break following that championship, which caused him to tumble down the rankings. However, he returned to the Crucible as number 1 seed because he was the defending champion, receiving automatic entry protection. The current situation differs significantly from 2012. O'Sullivan faces no defending champion protection and must maintain his ranking through tournament participation. His recent absence from competitive play has created vulnerability in the ranking system's mathematical calculations. O'Sullivan has responded to the ranking threat by entering several upcoming tournaments after a quiet end to last season. The Rocket has committed to competing in the Wuhan Open, British Open and Shanghai Masters. This commitment signals a busy start to the new campaign and marks a shift in approach for the 49-year-old, who had previously opted out of a string of events despite reaching the Crucible semi-final just weeks ago. The upcoming tournaments offer crucial opportunities to accumulate ranking points and secure his position within the top 16. Tournament entries represent O'Sullivan's strategic response to mathematical projections that threaten his automatic Crucible qualification. Should O'Sullivan find himself in the qualifying rounds, he would be heavily favoured to progress through the 2 matches required to reach the Crucible. However, qualifying presents risks that established champions typically avoid. Neil Robertson discovered this reality 2 years ago when he lost 10-9 to Jamie Jones in the final qualifying round. Robertson faced the nerve-shredding qualifiers and was beaten despite his pedigree, missing out on a trip to the Crucible for the first time since 2004. Robertson's elimination demonstrates that nothing can be taken for granted in the high-pressure environment of World Championship qualifying. The Australian was an unlikely name to face the qualifiers, but fell victim to the system at the English Institute of Sport. His experience serves as a warning that qualification success remains uncertain regardless of past achievements. O'Sullivan is not alone in facing this predicament. Mark Allen currently sits projected one place below him at 18th in the rankings for the 2026 World Championship. Allen remains comfortably within the current top 16, but faces the same challenge of maintaining his position as older results expire. Former world champion Luca Brecel finds himself in an even more precarious position. The 2023 world champion sits 37th in the projected rankings after his Crucible triumph. Brecel's dramatic ranking decline illustrates how quickly circumstances can change under the two-year rolling system. All three players remain comfortably within the current top 16, but face significant challenges ahead. The pressure of avoiding qualification has caught out top players before. Robertson's elimination represents the most notable example of ranking system vulnerability affecting established champions. His defeat occurred at the English Institute of Sport, where qualifying rounds create different pressures than main tournament competition. Shaun Murphy faced similar circumstances last season, confronting the prospect of slipping out of the top 16 before the World Championship. Murphy narrowly avoided the qualifiers despite failing to win a ranking title throughout the season. The magician maintained his top 16 status through consistent performances, reaching 2 semi-finals and 5 quarter-finals. Murphy's approach demonstrates how consistent tournament participation can preserve ranking position without requiring title victories. Murphy just about avoided the qualifying requirement and held on to his spot in the top 16 to avoid a trip to the English Institute of Sport. His experience provides a template for players facing similar ranking pressure. Consistent performance across multiple tournaments proved sufficient to maintain automatic qualification status. The stakes are particularly high for O'Sullivan, given his long-standing presence among snooker's elite since his teenage years. At 49, the prospect of qualifying represents a significant career milestone. His current situation mirrors challenges faced by other elite players, but carries additional weight due to his age and established status. Multiple ranking events lie ahead, providing O'Sullivan and his fellow stars with ample opportunity to secure their automatic Crucible places. The tournament calendar offers sufficient point-scoring opportunities for ranking recovery. Both O'Sullivan and Allen can remain in the top 16 by winning matches and ideally tournaments. The Wuhan Open qualification begins at the Mattioli Arena in Leicester, described as a long old way from Wuhan. This geographic separation between qualification venues and tournament locations adds logistical complexity to the competitive challenge. Despite the projected rankings creating concern, plenty of time remains for elite players to avoid the dreaded qualifiers. Current calculations represent projections rather than final determinations. The ranking system's mathematical foundation allows for significant movement through consistent tournament performance. O'Sullivan's tournament entries after a quiet second half of last season indicate recognition of the ranking threat. His commitment to multiple events represents a strategic shift from previous selective participation patterns. The upcoming campaign will test whether increased tournament activity can preserve his automatic Crucible qualification status. The Hwanghae Beer 2025 CBSA Snooker Changsha Masters Challenge concluded triumphantly on June 2 after 3 days of intense competition in Changsha's Star City. The final day delivered exceptional performances from world-class professionals, cementing the tournament's status as a premier snooker event in China. China's Xiao Guodong secured a commanding 5-3 victory over Neil Robertson in the day's opening match. Xiao's performance included a superb break of 121 points, demonstrating his growing prowess on the international stage. Mark Allen followed with an even more dominant display, defeating Mark Williams 5-1 while achieving the tournament's highest single break score of 135 points. 6 thrilling matches across the 3-day event featured 6 of the world's top snooker players. These elite competitors delivered captivating displays of world-class skill for global audiences, establishing new benchmarks for professional snooker in China. The tournament assembled 6 top-ranked players who showcased exceptional talent throughout the competition. Judd Trump, Kyren Wilson, Mark Williams, Neil Robertson, Mark Allen, and Xiao Guodong represented the pinnacle of professional snooker. The players collectively achieved 7 century breaks during the tournament. These breaks, scored with 100 or more points in a single visit to the table, featured remarkable moments that thrilled live audiences. Mark Allen's tournament-high 135 points led the scoring achievements, followed by Kyren Wilson's 132 and Xiao Guodong's 121. Neil Robertson contributed precise, long pots throughout his matches. Mark Williams added spectacular moments with stunning flukes that demonstrated both skill and fortune. The combination of technical excellence and dramatic shot-making created compelling viewing for snooker enthusiasts. The tournament occurred following Zhao Xintong's World Championship victory, which ignited a new wave of national enthusiasm for snooker in China. This timing contributed to unprecedented levels of engagement and viewership across multiple platforms. The tournament generated immense online engagement, with total topic views exceeding 1.8 billion across various digital platforms. Over 100 self-media accounts actively participated in coverage, creating comprehensive content around the competition. Provincial and municipal media outlets published nearly 100 reports across multiple platforms. These reports garnered over 10 million views, demonstrating significant mainstream media interest in the event. Live broadcasts on various platforms attracted